You're the boss.
Yeah,
Very good.
I'm not the boss, so I'll be. Good morning, everybody. Secretary General, dear colleagues, I'm very happy and I accepted this invitation to come to speak at the beginning of this workshop because I strongly believe that one of the key questions and challenges for the policy making in these days, but also in the following weeks, is embracing, understanding, and touching a little bit complexity. We cannot understand fully the complexity because that would not be the complexity. There will still be uncertainty, but I think that we need to understand this issue. So I see this also for the European Commission as one of the most important challenges. And we, as an in-house scientific service of the European Commission, supporting and bringing the facts on the table of policymakers, we need to embrace this and understand it first. And I must say that we are not extremely successful in doing it. And this is why I'm here, because we need to work together. And I would like to offer a cooperation. I will tell you at the end what we do, how we are trying to embrace it, what we have done recently, what we will be doing in the following few weeks, and also stressing that there is an open door from our side to come and work with us. Actually, the complex systems, they have been with us all the time. As you, Secretary General, you rightly mentioned, environment, climate, and many other fields, they are the complex systems, and that's why we are borrowing very often this terminology from biology, and we are talking about the ecosystems whenever we are talking about economy, whenever we are talking about innovation, creativity, companies, etc., etc. So because we understand that biological ecosystem is a complex system which cannot be fully described 100%, but it is something which is living in a certain dynamic equilibrium. And this understanding of dynamic equilibrium is a challenge also for societal systems and societal systems of systems or complex systems. But I think that with the time, the systems are becoming much more complex because we have multiplicity of actors, we have higher hyperconnectivity, and we have much higher speed. If I go back to my scientific background, sometimes in the beginning of 90s, one model ran for 24 hours. 6 years after, the same model ran 3 seconds, and 2 years after, several milliseconds. So, but it's not only enhancing our capacity to run the models, but it's also the speed the society is interacting and working. So then policy mistake is very apparent, not only years or decades or generations after, but several years. And I can give you an example of the legislation on biofuels, and it took a few years, and the Commission was pushed to change the legislation because we understood that we did not embrace the complex system, that we look at the biomass and biofuels through very narrow-minded linear system. And here we are with this tragedy of our policy making, that we are reducing everything into linear rationality. And with this time, which is shorter and shorter, the backfiring is coming very soon. So then we are discovering within the same mandate of the same political elite that the mistakes are unrepairable, or the mistakes are there. So then this is a huge issue, and we can turn to science, but that's not an obvious solution, because science is not embracing complexity either, because it's very natural. And here we are, in a way, fighting against the nature. We are fighting against how our brain is designed. Our brain is designed to understand things in boxes. That's why we find all these silos. And it's not only in a bureaucracy. We see it in industry, we see it in education, but we see it also in science. Since I started at university, We have been discussing multidisciplinarity, transdisciplinarity, but where we are? Nowhere, or almost nowhere. So we are not able to embrace also in the science. We are actually describing and pushing forward innovations through the linear modeling of, all these graphs plotting GDP versus investments in research and innovation. And we are running into the troubles. And I'm sure that in this field, the next financial perspective of the European Union will bring a very heated debate, because we have been putting the facts on the table, which are just the correlations, not the causal links. And here we are with the problem that we do not understand what is the causality, but we are just looking at the simplistic understanding of things which are linear, but only within very short period of time. And we know, if we understand the natural process, if we know that they are linear, but they are linear only under a certain condition and for very short period of time. So then in longer period of time, they are very complex, and they are. So then how to do it? What to do? And our past is not really speaking in favor of our future, because we do not have that many good and positive outcomes. So what we can do, we should be engaging in a complex, in trying to understand and visualize complexities through the dynamic and complex modeling. We should be in the science which is used for policymaking, talking about something what we call post-normal science, where the stakes are high, time is short, and uncertainty is huge. But we need to take decision. But obviously, we need to take decision, and policymakers need to take decision, but they need to be humble in taking the decision and checking the decision each and every time, very often, to understand whether the system is not changing and whether the policy decision should not be adjusted as we are implementing it. Then also we need to embrace rationality, but also embrace emotionality and irrationality. So then we need to understand that important part of the social system is a human being, and human being is far from being only rational. But every and each measure which we are taking is in a way understanding and expecting the rational behavior of human beings. So then anticipation is another thing which we need to, in a way, introduce in our thinking and in our work. Studying causality, I mentioned this, uncertainty and sensitivity. So then I think this is another issue which we need to understand. We have a huge opportunity. You mentioned this, Secretary General. You mentioned the big data. And this is an opportunity, but it's also a challenge, because big data may bring another complexity into our understanding. So we need to understand it, and we need to do it in a proper way. So then system thinking or design thinking is something what we should and what we can do. In our in-house commission scientific service, what we did, we recently, at the very high level with the think tank of President Juncker, we organized at the end of September the first ever conference on resilience, where we do understand the resilience, or we looked at the resilience as a complex system, not only disaster risk management or disaster risk reduction, but also resilience of energy systems, health systems, financial system, economic systems, human capital, etc. So then this was for the first time where we put together many different policymakers, and we discussed this issue, and we discussed how it's possible to visualize it, how it's possible to quantify it. In-house, what we do two major steps in this direction. First, we are understanding and focusing our thematic areas in a way of nexus system. So then if we look at energy, we are not looking only at energy, we are also looking at the water, we are also looking at the land, and we are also looking at the ecosystems. So then we are embracing that we are not looking at the ecosystems for environmental policy making, but also for energy policy making. So then this is the way that, in a way of nexuses, of these interdependencies, we are trying to understand this. And the last, but not least, what I would like to mention is our new invention. We have been working for more than 1 year and a half on designing the Policy Innovation Laboratory. This is something what we are offering to policymakers, and I hope that before the end of this year, we will be up and running this laboratory and offering to different departments of the European Commission the space which is infrastructure, which is physical space, but it's also space with capacities and competencies of people in foresight, in modeling, in design thinking, in behavioral sciences, where different policymakers from different departments can come and design the vision for their policy together, discuss in a safe place, not in the council meeting, not exposed very much to the public, but in a quiet space to discuss what and how the policy should embrace the complexity. So this is something, and this is the place, and this is the space where I would like to invite you to work with us, because that's exactly where your knowledge can be done. There are few examples, because we have started and we are already running several projects, but formally we will launch the laboratory probably at the very beginning of next year. But that's also something I'm inviting you to work with us and inviting you to use it and to use your knowledge to be, in a way, translated into policy making. So then, good luck with your seminar today. Good luck to all of us in using the results of the seminar, the result of your 2 years work, which is in this brochure. And good luck to all policymakers to embrace in the future complexity of our systems. Thanks a lot.